Now, hello there. This diary entry for the 19th of December 2015. Now, today, it didn't pan out the way I had hoped or I had planned. I was telling a friend of mine, Jerry, from last night's outhouse visit, or whatever you want to call it. I told him I had a few things planned out, like I go to Nara, do the leaflet handing, or handing out leaflets, etc., etc. Then I was to also do other things as well, etc., etc. But as as it happens, it didn't pan out though. So my point being is that I was telling him last night that I had ABC to do or planned out. But what happens if the first one doesn't maybe turn up or whatever? Do you have to move around or whatever? Do you tell the second person to say, right, this guy didn't show up, do you want to hang out or whatever? And then, but what happens if the first guy does show up? Eventually, or says, okay, I can now come out to you after all. So that kind of thing. But in this case, I had a few things planned out and just start transferring stuff. Now, well, depending. Okay, so one of the things I was to have planned out was to go to a NARA, which stands for National Animal Rights Association, which is, I think, an Irish company or a charity or whatever you call it, whereby, as you can gather, the name actually protest, or you could use the term protest to a slight degree, because they were actually in the news a few months ago, whereby they went into a restaurant that was cooking, I think, live lobsters. I'm not sure if the lobster was dead or not, but either way, they stole it out of the fish tank or lobster tank, whatever, while the customers were having their own stuff. So they were arrested for that sort of thing. Well, I doubt very much the whole company, but anyway, so that's why they're in the news lately. But my point being for this one is, one of my plans was to hang out with them for a few, whatever, minutes, hours, whatever, depending, and to hand out Christmas recipes ideas for the holiday period inside Steve Green where we were to shop. However, it wasn't to be, as the alarm never went off in time. Like here it was about, I think, 10 o'clock when I woke up again, and so, okay, cool, I've got 2 hours, because I was due to get up around 12ish, and then 12 o'clock came, and I didn't bother getting up, so I was due to get up 12:35, and here it was 13:42, which means 20 to 2. I was due to meet them at 1 o'clock, and then they dispersed, so if one would go to the team of, like, I had read it all in the descriptor, so there's no point saying otherwise, Then there's another one saying by, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that, and they go elsewhere and all this. But as it happened, by the time I arrive up there, it'd be around 2ish, give or take, and sure, they'd have started the whole thing. Like, I only now thought of it, I could have rang the woman who was involved in this thing or setting up this event, so, as I said, there'll always be next time. Then my next plan was, after Nara, I would go direct to a vegan information table. Like to protest, because all they do is just, and well, hence the name, information. Well, like, why would you go vegan and all that? So that was being held in Westmoreland Street. So that, like the above, that didn't pan out either. Then my next plan was to meet Evelyn, once I get her name right. Would be lovely, wouldn't it? Okay, and Glow, which stands for Gloria. Now, aka Vegan Ireland, because they're all members. I know Edmund is, because he's the head guy of Vegan Ireland, but I'm not sure about the other two though. I think Edmund works there as well, I'm not sure. However, that wasn't to be, because Edmund himself said they wouldn't be coming out today now. Probably during considering the holiday period, because in all fairness, it wasn't raining, like the weather was not too bad today. So with all the above plans collapsed, I just decided against dance for the Irish cars. I just stayed on in bed, basically speaking. Like someone asked me today in the outhouse, which I'll get to in a moment. Where was I, or what did I do today? And I wish I could have told, oh, I did this, as what I told you last night. But I just slept. Literally, I just woke up before I came to the outhouse, basically speaking. Now, onwards and upwards, as one would say. So my next plan, or well, not plan, because I went back to sleep, and I had such a horrendous dream where my favourite character in Ruston, Seamus Vicky Tom, or someone called me Vickyline, or what's this? Or I'm thinking of someone else. No, he was called Seamus. No, I thought the character used to call him a funny name like Vickyline or something. I'm thinking of someone else, or the Sheikh. Yeah, Mihal is another character in Ruston. He's also known as the Sheikh, which has nothing to do with his religion or anything. He's just called that because of whatever he's done in the past. In the series now, I'm talking about. But in this case, Seamus Fickleton, who was played by Diarmuid McAllister. I don't know what that's in English, but Diarmuid is Diarmuid, so, or Dermot, whatever. He gets killed with the heating floors. So I'm in a room, this is the actual dream, right? And the floor is overheating. And I see someone noticing the bump on one of the floor tiles. So I see the character. Now, what that should actually say is someone, I think, pulls the tile over, one of the floor tiles, and then I see the character. That kind of makes more sense, if you know what I mean. So then I shed several tears for him, which I actually did in real time, because when I woke up, the bed itself was a bit wet. Now obviously I don't do any pissing like I did in the past few months, years, whatever. But in this instance, it's actually my tears that wet the bed, you know? Because Diarmuid himself actually recently passed away. In real life now, okay? He passed away in July, Lord rest his soul, and for this year's Christmas episode, I learned from my sis that they would be laying Seamus to rest, i.e. writing him out the series. Because currently, according to Rustin on the 20th of December, he actually still exists. You know? Obviously, he's been written out in the series in the past, because I was looking at the Russell review weeks ago, whereby it said that he was in a home, something like that, which I don't get how he ended up in the home. I mean, there's series now, because when you look at a soap, it's two different things. You're looking at two different lives. So the person being Diarmuid, in his real life, he probably lived at home with his family, friends, whatever. And then in the series, he always ended up in the pub constantly. So it all depends, like the character. So, but in this instance, that they'll be laying him to rest and they'll be writing him out of the series in, I think it's Christmas Day. Well, it could be Christmas Day. That's not a Christmas Day on this year is on a Friday, so they'll probably write him out the previous Christmas Eve, I'd say. Yeah, that makes sense actually if it were to be done Christmas Eve. Because I know for a fact it is nowhere near New Year's Eve. But anyway, moving on. So then my sis called down with Mom to hand me a takeout. Simply put, that's basically what they did. So, moving on. So with that in mind, I then went back to sleep again. And I can't remember if I had the dream before my sis called to me or afterwards. I can't, because I did go back to sleep afterwards. So with that in mind, I eventually got up after such a horrendous dream. As I said, then, and then I did more self, so then I did more self-harming in the means of scraping the other side of the letter M, which I have here. I don't know if you can see a bit. It's kind of disintegrating, but there's a big huge mark there. He's a biggie, alright. I really went heavy on that one, alright. So then, I got up and got ready for the plan of the night. This was the biggest explosion, alright? Now, I was to meet Owen and the gang to see Star Wars The Force Awakens Episode 7. Now, I'm going to be delaying the review of the Star Wars film, because, now, the plot was very simple, okay? It's considering I never saw this series in all my life, okay? Like, I've obviously heard about it, and don't get me wrong, right? It's not like never who the hell is that character and all this. Like, I knew them and everything, like I've seen, even when Chewbacca was making his normal noises, like, I said, oh yeah, I know him. And that's, he's so adorable and cute and everything. But my point being is, there's the most simplest plot, in my opinion. And this is coming from a guy who never saw not one episode, as they call in the series. And the series started back in the 70s, I learned recently. So, yeah. But like I said, I just wanted to make sure, because It's one of these films that if you start giving out the plots or what's it called, the word spoiler alert, you'll be kicked out and whatever, or you'll be screamed at or whatever. Because it did happen to me a few years ago. My friend O'Farrell stopped giving out plot. What's the word? I had reviewed a film and it only came out there and then. And he said to me, "Stop giving out the plot, something something or whatever it was. Some people have not seen it." I said, okay. So, but obviously since then I ignored him. But for this instance, because Star Wars is actually $1.64 billion opening in the box office, I think I will do it justice. So I'll probably do it probably the week before the week is out, because I do plan on seeing it again. Definitely. Probably Christmas Eve. Although Christmas Eve, I'm told now, Cineworld will be closing early, so that's no good to me. So probably the Wednesday before Christmas Eve. I think Christmas Eve is on the Thursday, isn't it? Let's get this right. Aye, so yeah, the Wednesday the 23rd. So I could go with one of my mates or something. But definitely I want to see it in IMAX. No question about that. So then moving on swiftly, although beforehand I was to go to the outhouse, because that's one of my plan as well, and of course the Star Wars, because I was supposed to go to the outhouse to hand in a card for Joyce, but as happens I got the two mixed up. Joyce was, I think, coming on the Wednesday, which is the last day of the outhouse before Christmas, or before the holiday period for that matter. Excuse me. And Severn is today, well, Saturday being today. So I said, okay. However, I got the two mixed up, which was an awful shame because for some bizarre reason, I didn't even have Severn's card with me. And then I came home and realized I didn't write the damn things. I don't know what the hell happened there. I'm almost sure I did write his card anyway. He was totally embarrassed, though. In all fairness, God love him, though. So then, getting back to Star Wars, because that was finished, and then I went to Star Wars. I was going to go down. Well, that's right. Yes, I was going to go down to Earth, which is in Health Store on George Street. Funnily enough, a few doors up from the gay bar to George. However, it wasn't to be, as the timing would not be on my side. This was around 6:20, and the Star Wars was starting at 7 o'clock. So I said, should I go? Should I not? And then, by the time I meet the gang, it'd be too tight a time. Then not only that, I'd have to be rushing for the food. And of course, hang on in a minute. Oh dear. Now, you see this guy? Oh dear. Now, over. There we go. Now, let's see if you can make it out what it is. It's Cineworld are doing a, if you use the term lightly, promotion for Star Wars. They started that thing. Basically, it's just a drinking Coke that the normal Coke that you drink out of, right? Or the cups that you drink the Coke out of, right? Or whatever drink you have in the cinema. Basically, what happens is that they have a little figurine of Chewbacca is one of them. This one is a stormtrooper, which that's all I'm going to say. So, it's part of the film, obviously. So it's very good. So I'm going to collect a few, depending on the characters, of course. But Chewbacca definitely one. R2-D2, my baby, and my new baby, he's a droid BB-8, something like that. He's a droid, which I'm not going to say any more about the Star Wars film, because he does hold the key to the whole film plot. But he's a cutie. Well, obviously they're androids, or droid, or whatever. But the technical term name is BB-8, something like that. Right now I'm going to collect all these items, if at all possible. They're not bad a deal, to be honest with you, So then headed up to the gang, and we all headed up into the most anticipated movie of the universe. Not in, well, in whatever same. So that's about it. So I'll see you all later, and chat to you later soon.